So I decided the topic would be moving.
It's a great topic.
Moving, because I think you know something about it now. But why would we do moving on the JP show, and what's got to do with Judaism? You are listening to the JP show,
where we discuss the issues you care about from a Jewish perspective.
I am Rabbi G.
And I am Rabbi Levi.
And we hope you enjoy this episode. So welcome to another episode of the JP show. I'm here with Rabbi Levi, although I had to drag him here today because he's a little distracted.
Yeah.
And that's because you're moving this Wednesday.
I'm moving. I'm staying in Sydney, but...
Sorry, I should have qualified that. I didn't mean...
I wasn't fired yet.
Sorry, he's still... Let me redo that. He's still employed at BINA, still doing his same job, doing it very well, Baruch Hashem, but he's moving to a different premises.
Yeah.
Everyone knows moving is a very stressful thing.
In fact, someone actually told me that they saw research that it's like considered to be, and I don't know if this is true in my life, but it's considered to be one of the most stressful things in your life.
Apparently.
Like up there with like getting married and having children. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, that doesn't seem to be the case with me, but it is pretty stressful.
Apparently so. Yeah, no, it is. I've done it a few times. Thank God, not in recent times.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is very stressful. It's beautiful when it happens. First of all, we wish you lots of hatzlacha and mazel in your new place.
Yeah.
And you should be able to do lots of good things there.
Amen.
So, a little insight into how JP show works. Normally, Rabbi Levi actually thinks of the topic. And then we agree on a topic beforehand, and then we have a little discussion. Sometimes we ad lib. Sometimes it comes up with questions that we do know before, we don't know before. And then we both try and have input into the discussion. So I gave him off this week. He's here with me, but I told him I'll think of the topic this week, and I'll drive the agenda here. So I decided the topic would be moving.
It's a great topic.
Moving, because I think you know something about it now. But why would we do moving on the JP show, and what's got to do with Judaism? So I wanted to begin first of all with a very famous teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, which we've said before, and that is that everything one sees and hears, because we believe one of the foundations of Judaism is everything is b'shachar pratit, everything is by divine providence. So therefore we actually believe that everything that happens was meant to happen and is divinely orchestrated and designed. In fact, we have little choice. The Talmud tells us we do have a choice, we have free choice, but it's more our moral decisions and our response to what happens. So for example, if we meant to move, we move. How we handle it, do we get stressed and irritable and cranky? Which I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you're perfectly calm.
Of course not.
That's our choice. But otherwise, what's supposed to happen happens. So the Baal Shem Tov took that a bit further, and he says, because everything is by divine providence, therefore, everything we see or hear, we can learn a lesson from. Because everything in this world is a teachable moment. It's supposed to teach us to become better people, how to live, how to be more godly, and so on and so forth. So I thought that today, since I got to choose the topic, I thought we'd discuss the lessons from moving. And maybe you have more, but as we talk, but I have two lessons that I want to discuss.
Go ahead.
So first I want to ask you a question. Now that you moved, I know you're getting movers on Wednesday and you have to pack up, and it's a big job. Your mother helped out a little bit. I didn't do much, to be honest. My confession, I'm sorry, my apologies.
That's all right.
But did you throw stuff out?
A lot.
A lot of stuff.
I made a deal with my wife that has to be 1-1 ratio. Every box that we pack, we throw out something else.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's right.
So basically, you went through a decluttering experience,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it's great.
When was the last time you did this?
Probably 4 years ago.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all tend to do that. Some people are very good at this, but most of us, we hoard a little bit here and there. We build up a lot of clutter. Could be things we never use. Could be things that we think we might need in about 63 years from now. We'll just keep it because maybe we're going to use it. Things that are outdated, things that people don't even use anymore. All those kind of things, right? So I was thinking, I know you decluttered 4 years ago, but I think spiritually speaking, I think the lesson from that is we all have to declutter, right? You see, when we talk about spiritual growth and growing, so we focus on doing good things. So focus on going beyond ourselves, helping other people, being more spiritual, being more godly, engaging in positive living, meaningful living, purposeful living, more and more, right? What we fail to understand sometimes is that we sometimes are carrying around in our head, in our heart, a lot of clutter. And you can't really move. I think you experienced this week, right? When you move, you know you have to declutter. Really, we should declutter more often, but when you move, you can't schlep your junk with you. I mean, it would be pretty stupid if you arrive in a new place, all those boxes that you really don't need, broken toys, stuff that is useless and just gets in the way, right? So I think we all have that kind of stuff. We all have stuff within ourselves that is getting in the way. It might be old resentments for people that we're not even sure why we're upset with them. We just know we're upset.
Spiritual clutter.
Yeah, spiritual clutter. It might be, unfinished business. Not that we have to go into that so much because normally we just have to get on with stuff, but it might be just unfinished stuff. We never, this someone we don't talk to, or we're feeling upset about something that we haven't dealt with. And a lot of that stuff really doesn't even need a lot of exploration. It just needs a lot of chucking, actually. It needs to chuck out the nonsense, right? Like we need to just say, I don't need to hold that grudge anymore. I don't need to be upset with that anymore. I don't need to engage in what I'm engaging for. I maybe have a temptation that I keep giving into, but really I don't need. I'm older now. I'm stronger. I can just chuck it. So I think the first lesson from moving is, if you want to move, spiritually speaking, if you want to move to a bigger place, which your place, thank God, is a bit bigger. If you want to move to somewhere bigger and better, spiritually speaking, it can't really happen unless you declutter, because if you don't declutter, the same stuff that's been holding you back till now and getting in the way till now will just keep getting in the way. So what do you think about that?
No, I like that.
I'm sure that when you're chucking boxes, you had that in mind, right?
No, for sure. I think it's also like we sometimes, part of decluttering, baby, is also figuring out what you've been doing that hasn't been working in life. We keep on making the same, some expression like the definition of insanity is you keep on making the same mistake over and over again, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So like we need to figure out like what we don't need in our life, what's not working, and sort of get rid of it.
You said about the definition of insanity. I once heard that people say, I'm very, very experienced in this. You just have to examine what is it when someone says they experienced. That's right. Experienced teacher, experienced doctor, experienced this, experienced that. What is experience? Is just I've been doing this for 20 years. Does that mean you've been making the same mistake for 20 years?
That's right.
In which case you're really not experienced. You've just been repeating the same failure 20 times.
Yeah.
Or have you been learning, like you say, have you been chucking out the stuff that doesn't work and trying something new? And I think that's right. That's good. So you finished? Are you finished decluttering?
Oh, getting there. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's great. Wow. Okay, so now I thought we'd talk about the second lesson that I think you can learn from moving, which you haven't done yet, which is equally as hard as decluttering. You know what it is? Unpacking, that's it. So I was thinking like this, right? First of all, I say about moving, just a bit of advice, by the way, because we've moved a few times. So have you really, so I'm sure you know this already. They say whatever box you don't unpack within the first 3 days remains unpacked like for the next 20 years.
That's right.
And then you forgot what that box. Oh yes, when we moved, of course, I remember that box. Right? So you got to get it unpacked. But there's a very deep and important lesson about unpacking, right? In life, we go through experiences which are amazing, right? We actually do move. It could be a festival, Purim that we just had, an inspiring Pesach, or an amazing speaker, or something happens to us just amazingly uplifting, and we're inspired, and we're all ready to move, and we're ready to go, and somehow it doesn't happen. Like the next day we go back to business, back to the old stuff, right? And I think sometimes the reason for that is because we didn't unpack. So yeah, the stuff is there, the inspiration is there, but it's still in boxes.
Yeah.
Right? So I think we have to unpack. What does unpacking mean? I suppose, one thing it means, maybe you can add to this as well, but I think unpacking means to the next day to actually think, wow, that was incredible. What am I going to do about it? Like,
how's it going to change me?
Oh, exactly. So, I'll give you an example. I was just talking with your mother the other day. We heard an amazing podcast, just to bring it into the current times, right? Amazing podcast of someone talking who suffered in their life multiple tragedies, and it's a podcast with some Israeli woman who's the most inspiring, amazing woman ever. I mean, just incredible, right? And she's a person who suffered many tragedies before October the 7th and during October the 7th. Relatives, really, really bad. And she has this and she's not in denial. She was very much in pain. There were times she says it was very hard for her to move on, but she always does. And she's got this amazing perspective of how to reframe and how to just amazing trust in Hashem and Emunah and belief and faith, and also amazing ability I'll just tell you one little story. Like they were sitting shiva, I've forgotten what it was, for some relative after October the 7th, and obviously the mood was really low and everyone was really, and she was in great pain, they were all in great pain. And then a couple of days in, she says to one of her siblings, we also have to look at the good things, So they look at her like, what good things exactly you talk about? She says, we're sitting shiva in our house because we actually have a house. There are people sitting shiva in mourning who don't even have a house to sit in.
Right.
I mean, I thought that was just incredible.
What a perspective, yeah.
To be able to do that. And she's made this commitment to live and to be happy. Amazing person, right? So you hear this, wow, everyone says, wow, 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 wow. And then everything goes back to normal, right?
Right.
So we were just talking, like, how do we unpack this? Maybe we can't be like her, but maybe we could be a little bit like her. Maybe we can change it a little bit, right? We can say, what gives a person that perspective? What is it? And what are the strategies you have to think? Like, what's the plan? What can I do in my life to be a little bit like that?
Yeah.
So unpacking quickly. I once heard that, like, when teachers go to a teacher training course, if they don't implement something within the first 48 hours,
it's not going to work.
They don't implement anything ever.
Yeah.
Right? So same thing. In other words, you've got to unpack and unpack soon.
No, that's good. I had another thought actually about moving, which just came to me.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily, it has to do with moving houses, but also can be any move in life, like getting married or starting a new job or whatever it is. I think there's an opportunity and a danger. I think many times people think like, I'm going to move to a new house, I'm going to move to a new city, I'm going to get married, to start a new chapter in my life, and I'm going to just start my entire life over. Like, now everything's going to be great. Like, it's like, let's say a person lives in a small house and they live to a little bigger house. Now I can actually be happy because now I have a little more room to breathe. Or now I'm married, so now I can finally start living life, or whatever it is, right? So I think in a sense there is truth to that every time we have a change in our life, there's an opportunity for growth. And, you can shift some things, you can reschedule your life and take... But I think the danger in that is that people don't realize that just because you got married doesn't mean you're a new person. Just because you moved to a new house, you didn't move to a new person, right? You're the same person. So you carry with you all the same problems, all the negative attitudes you had before, all the bad habits that you had before comes with you. And it's not like this is going to solve all your problems in life. I think it's an important... And it's an opportunity, but it's also a danger. I think we have to be conscious of that.
And sometimes that moving is important, but it's only going to work if you...
actually work on yourself.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that actually matters is you. At the end of the day.
Beautiful.
You could be in a relationship with someone else, but if you have the same problems, it's not going to solve your problems. You have to...
You remind me of a letter that I once saw from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and I always call it geographical therapy. He wrote to a student who in yeshiva wasn't doing very well. And that student decided that maybe he needs to move to a different yeshiva. He said, and he wrote to the Rebbe, what does the Rebbe think about me moving to a different place, a different yeshiva? Maybe they'll be better. Now, I'm sure sometimes that is true. Maybe some of the difficulties come from environment and external circumstances. But the Rebbe in this case obviously didn't think so. And he wrote to the person a very, very sharp line. He said, every person has a Yetzer Tov and a Yetzer Hara. We have a good inclination and an evil inclination. And I want to just tell you that when you move to the other yeshiva, your Yetzer Hara is coming with you.
That's right.
So
that's the idea.
Right. Although some people just think, that marriage is a cure. Like we always say, marriage is not a hospital, right?
Right.
And moving to a different yeshiva is like geographical therapy. It's going to help. It's not going to help necessarily. What does help is if you're already doing well and you're already doing the work within and you're a growing person, then sometimes moving to a new opportunity enhances
that growth.
But the growth has to come from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I love that.
And including that as being happy and all that. That's all.
Yeah, of course, and the positive and the perspective and yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there you are. We have 3 good lessons from moving. Got to declutter. We've got to unpack. And
you got to realize it all happens in you.
It all happens in you because you go with the move.
Yeah.
Very good. So on that note, I want to wish you a successful move.
Thank you.
There is a praise in Judaism, a bracha that we give, that moving does create new opportunities. So we say Meshaneh Makom, Meshaneh Mazal.
Yeah.
That when you change a place, sometimes your muzzle changes. Doesn't mean that your muzzle before was bad. It just means new opportunity, new growth. That is true, but true together with what you said before, that it comes with your own things. So you should do lots of good things in your home. Your home should be filled with simcha and joy and blessing.
Amen.
And may we all be able to move and apply those lessons of moving.
Shkoyach.
Have a good day, everyone.